What's going on again, YouTube? I'm back with another video. We're going to be working on the old CR-V again. I've been procrastinating on replacing the CV axles in this thing. The issues kind of started with the passenger side. The axle boot busted and slung all the grease everywhere, and it's probably dry by now. Well, the driver's side did the same thing. The axles aren't really giving me any trouble, but considering they are probably about dry now and they have no grease left in them, decided to go ahead and get some new axles for it. And of course I had to go with the Napa axles because apparently the Napa axles are the only ones that'll work. So I got the Napa ones and get ready to put these in. Hopefully that takes care of that. And also in an upcoming video, not today, but I noticed the transmission mount and the one on the firewall are completely shot. So I went ahead and did a little bit of looking around for some motor mounts for this thing. So I'm going to see about picking up some motor mounts for this, so in an upcoming video we'll do an install video of those, because that's probably a little bit of easier something that I can do a little tutorial on versus CV axles. Now you're asking, well, how is it not easy to do a tutorial on CV axles? Well, I'm going to tell you. Because when you have a lifted CR-V, you can tear everything apart and it does not, it almost does not go back together. I've watched a lot of videos where other people put the 3-inch lift kits on these things and they have no problem whatsoever, and I cannot figure out how they have no problem. I only have a 1-inch lift kit, and doing this by yourself, it's almost impossible. But I haven't worked on it for a while. I haven't worked on anything for a while. I've had a good long break, so I'm going to tackle it today. And hopefully I do not learn any new languages and I get this thing done. So without further ado, I don't have the other side jacked up. I'm just going to jack up one side at a time. I figure this side is always the side that gave me the least problem tearing it apart, so I'm going to start with this side today. As I said, this is not a tutorial video. Keep that in mind. I went ahead and got everything tore apart. Got the old CV axle out. Of course I did this in the way of not taking out the bottom ball joint. But with being lifted, like I said, I have the 1-inch HRG lift spacers. There is a trick to putting this back together, because I'm going to tell you right now, you could push that down as far as you want with the new axle in there or whatever, you will not get this and that together. You will not get that together. But there is a trick to it. It was very difficult the last time I tried it, and I had to get help to come help me. I needed to get a bigger and heavier foot, basically. But I'm going to try it again, and we'll see how that goes. But let's take a look at the old axle. So here's the old one, and as you can see, let's just put my foot on it right here. Yeah! Yeah! Woo! Yeah, I think it's pretty bad. So it's pretty rough. I mean, like I said, it was still working, but they were clicking a little bit and bumping. So as I said, I got Napa axles, because everything that I've read, all the other fellow CR-V drivers, this is your information that I have gotten from you. But the one thing I could never get from anyone is a valid part number. So that is one thing that I'm going to give you today, is the part numbers that I'm going to use here. And from my measurements of these axles, my research online, and the many axles that Napa has available, I do believe these are the correct measurements that I need to work with the 1-inch lift. So with that being said, I am going to, let me fix my camera here and show you the part numbers. Now this, I'll just hold it there just for a second. that is the part number for the driver's side, Napa axle, and this is the passenger side. The number is a little cattywampus there, so it's 94-6051, just in case can't read that. 94-6040. Alright, so hopefully my measurements are correct, and hopefully these things do not bump like the AutoZone axles. Now, I replaced the one on the passenger side once before, which you'll see the passenger side axle when I take it out, which that is the original Honda OEM one that I put back in it because the axle boot broke. Well, it didn't broke, it's just the band come off and started slinging the grease. So I bought the AutoZone axle, and all it did was, it's hard to explain, but if you have one of these and you know what it feels like and sounds like when the knuckles in your joints are bumping, especially during accelerations in low gear, then you know what I'm talking about. That's what that axle did, and it did it really bad. And then it ended up, it's like it popped completely out of the joint or something, out of the socket or something, and I got the death wobble like you would not believe. I thought I was driving a Jeep Wrangler at 200 miles an hour and almost wrecked it. So I ended up taking that CV axle back out. I just bought a clamp for the boot, put that axle back in, and it's been perfectly smooth and perfectly fine since, but it is time to replace it. So hopefully this one is the correct one for that side, because the passenger side is the side that you have the trouble with the most. It's not so much the driver's side, it's the passenger side. So, but anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and throw this axle back in there, and then once I get to this difficult part here, I will show you how to put that back together the best that I can. Now, here is the hard part. So, got the CV axle in. It's you know, not too bad to put in. Don't mind my camera shake here, but this part right here is the hard part. Pretty much what you got to do is, of course, you got to take this lower bracket off your shock, and once you put your CV axle in, then you put this back in, throw the bolt in the bottom. Obviously you don't want to tighten it up, but what you got to do is you got to push the whole lower control arm down far enough and pull this out to get these two to go together. And then once you got them wedged together, you got to put your foot on it and push it and basically kick it and get it to go back together. So and I also have the CV axle nut on as well, so it doesn't kick the CV axle out. So, oh Lord, wish me luck. I'm going to try it. This is the worst part about doing this, and let's see if I can get it to go together. Almost. Alright, so you pretty much get it there like that, and let's see, let's get our foot on it, get a good grip on something here, and see if I can get it to go together. Oop, not yet. Need a different foot. There we go. Alright, did it go? It partially went. Alright, so maybe put a little bit more lubricant in there. Let that seep down in there. Okay. I mean, it's most of the way down in there. It just got to go a little bit further, about another 1/4 inch, and it should be good. But I've got a better idea for that one. We'll jack it up a little bit and see if we can't get it to go together. And there it goes. And I'll just go ahead and put a little bit of tension on it. That way it's right where it needs to be. And now all you gotta do is tighten that rear bolt that clamps that little bracket onto the shock. Tighten up these lower bolts, Put the upper ball joint back in. Brake caliper, tighten the axle nut, and we're good to roll. Alright, driver's side is done. New CV axle in. Old piece of junk laying there on the floor. Yeah, so now we'll move over to the dreaded side, as I like to call it. I call it a dreaded side because this is the side of the vehicle that does not like me whatsoever. I have had more trouble with this side, front passenger side, than anything else on the vehicle. Anything at all. So, the other side, other than the spindle swinging down and smacking me in the forehead, the other side went pretty good. So, we'll just see if I can get this side to cooperate with me or not. But, got my fingers crossed. And there's a stick lodged in there. I probably ought to get that out. Huh. That's just a little stick. Oh yeah, look at that. Oh. Hey y'all. Hey y'all. Yeah. I went through a pretty good sized mud hole the other day. Oh my, look at that. Let's get all that out of there. Yeah, we don't need any of that in there. Okay, leaves and stuff like that. Alright, perfect. Oh jeez. You know what, I just lightened this thing up probably by 2 pounds, so I mean that's like 10 horsepower right there. If I can get that rock out of there, that's probably another 5. Let me see. Oh goodness. Oh, let me get it. Oh, look at that. Now you take stuff like that out of your vehicle, you're adding horsepower by reducing weight. So now this thing ought to do 0 to 30 in like 10 minutes. It ought to be fine. Alright. Well, let's get to changing this axle. See how bad this one got. Everything on this side seemed to have came apart okay. Didn't really give me much trouble at all. One thing that I, like a fool, forgot about is transmission fluid. I've only got 1 quart of transmission fluid left. So I don't drain too much of it, I hurried up and put the axle, the new one, back in. That way I don't drain so much out. It may have drained about a half a quart already, which is not too bad. I have 1 quart left. That's like literally all I have left. Well, here anyways. So I went ahead and threw that in there real quick. I put the axle nut on there so it don't fall out. And again, like the other side, all I gotta do is put everything back together. Of course, you know, this is going to be the tough part. For some reason, this side really always gave me a really hard time putting this side back together. But we're going to try it again, and hopefully it'll give me a little bit more slack this time. And you couldn't really see the other side, but there's the 1-inch lift spacers from HRG, by the way. They do a really awesome job. They have quite a nice product, and of course when you buy you buy anything from HRG, it comes with the most incredible instruction sheet you'll ever buy with parts. Totally awesome. You definitely don't get that from the bigger companies. But anyways, enough of shout out to them. They have been awesome to me. But we're going to put this back together, and hopefully this fork does not give me trouble. Here we go again. We're going to try. Shoo, that's got to go down like 3 inches. Goodness. We're going to try to get this together like we did the other side, hopefully. Oh man, for some reason, see, this is a 2-man job on this side. Alright, let's see if I can do it this way. Push it down. Alright. Oh, okay. There. Now I got that. Now, I'll wipe my hands off because I'm slickering snot on doorknob. Alright, now, I'll see if I can get this sucker to go back together. Alright. Oh, did it get it? Oh, look at that! Yeah! Oh Lord, I squished my boot somehow. Well, that's pretty much it. Got 2 new CV axles in this thing. Amazingly, the passenger side did not cause me much trouble, which is totally awesome. And now the only thing left to do is back it out of the garage, take it for a ride, and make sure these CV axles actually do pretty decent. So, and I got to put a couple of drops of transmission fluid back in the transmission because I leaked a little bit out, so got to replace it. But that's going to wrap it up for this video. Hopefully this video sort of helped you out a little bit. Hopefully the part numbers help you out. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, give it a thumbs down if you didn't like the video. And guess what? No horrid music in this video. You have all spoken? Okay, no more music in the videos. Especially when I'm working on something. Okay, I got you. Alright. So, but anyways, we'll see you guys in the next video.